we can roll along slowly but surely so people that come in don't
Yeah.
get too far behind. I can't go over the ground rules and tell everyone to be on time when I'm an hour late, so we'll skip those. But thank you guys for understanding. Thank you for showing up
No problem.
at 2:00.
Yeah, no problem.
So we're going through 3612.3. This is power session 10. You guys may have already done 11, right? Or not yet?
Which one was 11 was, no, I think this, 11 is, I don't even know.
Did they get to do 11 last week, or are we still in sequence? If we do 10 today, 11's tomorrow?
I think 11's tomorrow or next.
Oh,
next one.
cool.
Last one was
Good.
10.
Then we're not out of order.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. So this is power session 10, lead conversion. All right. So in this session, we'll talk about what is lead conversion. How do we convert people from being leads? A lead is, what's a lead, guys? What do you guys say? What's a lead? Feel free to unmute or just talk out.
Yeah, someone who, you know, you can get generate some possible business in a near future or late future.
Correct. Yeah, someone who you can potentially get some business from. Right? How do we get leads?
We get prospect, open houses, referrals, and just several different ways it seems.
That's true. Right? You can prospect, you can get referrals, hosting open houses gets leads. You may participate in lead generation programs like OpCity or Zillow leads, right? Where a third party generates someone with some interest. So it's basically, I would say a lead is someone who may have an interest in real estate and transacting in real estate, but you don't know them very well quite yet. Wouldn't say they're a met in your database even. You may never have met them, right? This is someone that you just got in possibly or are about to be introduced to. So we'll talk about converting those leads. We'll talk about getting to know them. We'll go over some tips for getting appointments. We'll talk about getting the most from internet inquiries, pre-qualifications for consultations, classifying leads, and then putting it all together. I like to teach interactive classes, guys, so I'm going to ask you lots of questions, so feel free to unmute yourselves and participate. I usually have answers, but I don't have all the answers, and a lot of times we can derive some cool questions from what you guys are on. So some quick introduction ground rules. You guys are on. If we're going to do, I don't think we'll have any group sessions, but try to be fully present, respect reality of time, and participate. We'll try to get this over with in an hour and a half or so. And we'll try to have some fun while we're doing it. And if you guys have questions as we go, it's not like we have a huge group. Just feel free to interject, and we can stop whatever we're doing, and we can talk about questions and whatnot. So have we done any lead generation activities so far in our business? Have you guys, I know we have 8 of us on the call here. Anyone participating so far? I know some of y'all are new, some of you are maybe not so new. Are you making lead generation a part of your day? Let's go. Tell me about these things.
Well, for me, I'm doing a lot of cold calling, and some open houses. The leads from open houses are, you know, some are better than others, but there's that, you know, in my sphere, people I talk to on a regular basis, and you know, people in my database, my like friends and family and stuff. So I try to do that. It's not as regular as I'd like it to be, but it's something I try to do something, you know, every day.
Okay. Any ahas from those activities? Have you had any conversions or any luck?
Well, from I've got some potential from the cold calling. The cold calling, there's not a whole lot there, but there's some potential with one or two people in the future. There's one lady. She, you know, she will be at some point will be looking to downsize because, you know, she's waiting for her kids to finish up college. The most effective I've had were from open houses, specifically like a couple I did for Harvey in Fremont, and I came across some solid buyer contacts there. And so I've been trying to work that out with two specific clients. So hopefully something within the next few months. One seems to be more immediate than the other, but you know, they appear to be interested in doing business with me. So I've got them on some automated updates and stuff like that. And then I'm calling them up every once in a while, kind of see if they're getting emails and what they're into and stuff. So I'm maintaining contact with them.
Good. Very good. Anyone else?
Well, Mark, it's Austin here. The two lead gen activities that have been working the best for me so far are open houses. I've gotten a couple of, I'm working with a couple of buyers because of open houses. I worked for you, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
And thank you. And
Thank you.
and then just digging into my sphere, to be honest with you, I haven't really, I mean, I'm cold calling, but I really am not cold calling outside of my sphere yet. I haven't paid for leads yet, thinking about it. Anyway, that's where I am.
Cold calling the sphere and thinking about paying for leads. Okay. Anybody else?
I have an open house for you last weekend. I got a two contact and then I emailed them right at the same day. Until now, they're not replying yet.
Okay. Any ahas from that activity?
Like also the other day, I write a handwriting letter to a potential seller from my neighbor, and I bring the letter to him. And on the way there, I meet his neighbor and a lady who lived in the apartment for like 30 years. So I have a good conversation with her and hand her my business card. Yeah, and then like the neighbor know each other. So she said like if she know anyone who interested in buying or selling, she will contact with me. So I don't know.
Okay. Very good. Any ahas from these activities, or what's the most difficult part? What do you guys find as a challenge in your lead generation?
I think Jenny wanna talk?
Mark.
Hi.
Oh. I think something, so the most lead generation.
Jenny, I'm having a hard time understanding you. Can you repeat or talk a little bit louder?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the most effective lead generation. Can you hear me now?
I'm having a hard time hearing you. Do try.
Maybe I'm doing something. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better. Yeah. Let me raise my volume too.
Maybe I go close to you.
There
Can
you
you
go.
hear me now?
That's better. Much better.
Oh,
That's
because I'm
good,
very
yeah.
close.
That might be on,
It's fine.
yeah,
I co-cancel.
there we go. That should be better.
Okay, so it's better now.
Better now.
So I was saying like the most efficient lead gen for me is open house.
Yeah.
So I did not do anything else except I run open houses every weekend. So I get buyers and also seller from
Open houses. Okay, good.
yeah.
Open houses, guys, are a great cost-effective way to meet people.
Yeah.
People, anyone that walks through your open house, I don't care what they say, they have an interest in buying or selling a home eventually. Nobody just randomly walks around, nah, just cruising through the neighborhood. I have nothing better to do. I'm just going to
That's
stop
so
at your open
true.
house. Now that's what they tell you because they don't want to be bombarded with the questions we're going to be really asking them, right? Because they've naturally got their guard up. So we got to break the ice and break down that guard. And you have to have that mentality at the open house that everyone that's coming through that door, they're interested in buying a house, whether it's this house or another house, or they're interested in selling a house. If someone says, oh, I'm just a neighbor, the neighbors, I have 1,000 better things to do than just to walk through people's random houses. However, if I'm thinking of selling my house in the next year or two, when I see an open house in my neighborhood, it may go there and check out to see what am I checking out? Ideas, how they're preparing so I can get my house ready. And number two, am I interviewing that agent? Is that agent doing an effective job blowing me away so that when I'm ready to go in a few months, I'm going to give them a call or interact with them or even return their calls when they call.
Yeah.
Right?
So Mark, that's so true. So yesterday I was at Los Autos. So there was a seller who was interview agent. She literally told me she's try to sell next year. And then I said, well, I would like to apply the job. She took my information, but she did not give me her contacts. And I told her, she asked me how long be in the business, etc. Yeah, I show her, yeah, I'm a great agent, did a great job for my Miller, and I also give her my my seller's contact information to, so she can cross-check how good I am. And she said, well, yeah, I like everything I heard. I will contact you for interview when it's when it's time to come. So yeah, I think, yeah, you're right. So sellers and also going to open houses to interview agents.
That's it.
They interview you on the spot, actually.
Exactly. So I would say an open house, anyone that walks through an open house, I would call them a lead, right? Lead generation. So everything is a step-by-step process, right? You can't just sell somebody a house that you've never met before, right? So you can't meet someone unless you're introduced to them one way or the other. Either they come into your open house or you calling a friend and they're introducing you to somebody new, they become a lead, right? So with lead generation activities like hosting open houses, calling your sphere of influence, we're looking to get those leads. Now, the most difficult part for me is actually getting my ass on the phone and making those calls. And I know that first one, man, that phone call or that phone is so heavy that, I could probably substitute it for doing bicep curls. But once you make a few calls, it becomes so much easier and easier and easier. And by the end of a 2-hour session, you're like, oh, it's over already. I can go for 2 hours more. At least that's the way I am. At least that's the way I am. So once we have a generated lead, we have to take them to the next step. Okay. The next step is kind of what we're going to be focusing on mostly in this class, which is converting them from a lead to an appointment. Right? You can't sell somebody a house unless you have an appointment with them first to A, solidify them as a client. And if they're buyers, the B is then show them houses. And then for listings, right, solidify and get them to sign the listing agreement. And then we go and market the property. So after we generate a lead, right, the very next step is to get an appointment. So we do prospecting, marketing, we leverage our database, we do all these things to get those leads generated, and then we have to convert them, right? So what are we converting for? Step number one is to convert them for an appointment, right? Why do we want to do that first? Any ideas? Why is it important to have an appointment?
To get to know them, like to have
To
some
find out what
idea
their
what
needs
do they
are.
need.
Understand their requirement
right?
and need.
Yeah,
That's
what
all
their needs
correct.
are.
Find out what their needs are, understand the environment. Why else would you? What's the goal of these appointments?
To get the
Ask
business.
them.
Form a relationship.
form a relationship and to get the business, right? The most important facet of these appointments is to get a commitment from the prospect or the lead to work with you exclusively to buy or sell a home. That's it.
So, about like, appointments that you're, say, with prospective buyers, are buyer contracts really something that you try to use to get them to sign, just as a sign of like kind of commitment? Because I wouldn't imagine wanting to enforce something like that if they don't want to work with you.
Yeah, you know what? That's a personal decision. I personally do not people to sign a buyer broker agreement for the main reason, unlike a listing, it really can't be enforced at the end of the day, and it can be terminated at any time by any party. So I don't like to personally, but there's still a big difference between skipping the point to where you get their commitment and having them, going out and showing houses, right? Like we can get a lead, let's say from Op City that says, oh, $1 million budget, Willow Glen, looking for a townhouse, and you call them and you start setting up appointments to go viewing townhouses. And it's a mistake that a lot of agents make. The problem is, yeah, you may be able to have that appointment and you may show them some houses, but there's no commitment from them to working with you at all, right? They may call their uncle to do the deal at the end of the day after you showing them houses. They may call their best friend to do the deal that just got their real estate license that will give them 1% back. They could call Redfin, who they've been looking online, who's been telling them about all these rebates they're going to be giving them, right? So the very first step, and whether you get the agreement or not, that's up to you. However, you do need to go over certain aspects of the process and make sure they're comfortable and committed to working with you and only you. The first thing you have to understand is you have competition. So you have to overcome certain objections. The biggest one you might face is the commission rebate objection, because people don't always understand how we get paid. So in our appointment, it's very important that you explain to your prospect how the game works, how you get paid, when you get paid, and how much you get paid. And you have to get them to agree to work on the terms that you set forth. Okay? So at the appointment is when you go through that lead conversion. To convert them into clients, the clients have to be very comfortable with how you get paid. Their expectations of any kickbacks or anything like that has to be agreed upon up front. They have to understand the process that you can sell them any home on the market or off, doesn't matter. And in the event that perhaps there's opportunities out there where the compensation may fall short of your expectations, and they have to get the commitment from them to overcome that and cover it for you. Either that or you have to eat it. That's a decision you have to make for your business. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So no matter where you're getting the lead from, the first step is getting that appointment. We're going to identify whether they're a buyer or a seller. That's going to dictate how that's going to go, of course, right? So we know, oh, this guy's want to buy or these people want to sell. And then you want to schedule an appointment so that you can review your value proposition and affirm that commitment that you're working with that client exclusively.
So that appointment is that appointment for like, is it called buyer or seller representation?
That's exactly what it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you're at an open house and we're talking with buyers, right, you want to schedule them for an appointment as fast as possible. That you over those important aspects of buying a home so they can feel comfortable moving forward throughout the process. And the most successful open house agents, take note from Lanny Chan in Silicon City. It's that nobody walks in that door and out an appointment.
Everybody?
Everybody. That's the goal. That's the goal. If you're walking into my open house, we're leaving. Yeah, sure, you'll take my business card. Yeah, sure, you'll take my flyer. But I'm going to ask you for a time for us to get together and talk about buying a house. I'm going to ask you for an opportunity to help you sell your house. Okay,
How do you
And the-
say, how do
They
you
already-
go with that?
They already have
right?
an
Well,
agent.
it's a process. It doesn't happen over one sentence. And we'll go over that process. How do you go from a lead to an appointment? Right? With open houses, you have to be very good at building rapport. You have to have people feel comfortable with you and like you very quickly. What's the easiest way to build rapport with people, guys? Do you guys know?
What?
Chat.
How do you
chat
build
with
rapport? How do you get somebody to like you?
Ask them questions.
Like welcoming him, ask a question, welcoming him.
And also, chat with them like something in common. Sometimes I ask where they work and I told them where I worked before. So we found, oh, okay, I know somebody there. Oh, we're in the same tech field. So they know people. So I think that was the way I build easier relationship.
That's it. Austin
Yeah.
said it first. Ask questions. And
Yeah.
you want to ask the kind of questions that are open-ended, right? People love people who listen to them talk about themselves. So you're going to ask questions about them and listen very intently and curiously to what they have to say. That's it's very simple how to get people to just pay
About anything
Giving
that
the
interesting
questions.
them, right?
That's it.
Question about them.
That's it. You have to connect with them. When you shake their hand, look them in the eye.
Ask how many, do they have
Get that-
children?
You have
How
that
old they
physical
are?
connection, and then you ask the questions. Asking
Yeah.
questions will get people to lower their hopefully barriers and then interact, seek items of commonality if you have things in common,
Mhm.
and build a relationship.
Yeah.
Build a relationship to where people want to hang out with you, right?
Mhm.
I have to leave now. Thank you, Mark. But can I give you a call later about the one that I met at the open house? I
Absolutely.
have I have a very good conversation with her. I know some more information about her situation also, but I want to talk to you so I have an idea what is the next step.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks for showing
Bye-bye.
up. All right. So that's the gist of the class today, right? Why you are here is to increase the number of appointments you get. So building rapport, helping people, asking the right questions, and then closing for an appointment. So guys, what will make this a great training experience? What questions or systems can I ask to make sure we cover to ensure this works in time?
Training experience.
What do you guys want to know?
Want to know, how to handle certain, objections during, open houses, like, for example, you ask for the, appointment, but you say, oh, we are, we're not ready, or we have agent, or things like that. Sometimes they lie, right? So how do we, overcome those objections?
Anything else?
They said that they have an agent, but they don't know they don't even put their agent's name. They don't even know. They just say, oh, yeah.
So on that agent question, just real quick,
Mhm.
when we mentioned asking questions, there's certain types of questions that you want to ask and certain types of questions you absolutely want to avoid.
Mhm.
Okay. So the questions that you want to ask are open-ended questions. What's an open-ended question? Do you guys know?
Open-ended questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you ask a question and
Could have more than one answer.
They cannot answer it with just a yes or a no.
yeah.
Absolutely. Perfect. That's it. Well done, Zach. An open-ended question is a question that cannot be answered with a yes or a no. So
Mhm.
those are the questions that you want to be asking, and the questions that you don't want to ask are the closed questions, the ones that require a quick yes or no answer. So the most popular of the closed-end questions, which stumble you up nicely, I can see already, Jenny, is,
Do you
are
have
you
an
working with
agent?
a real estate agent? Yeah, do you have a real estate agent?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how can we phrase that question to be open-ended?
Usually, even I ask like how, yeah, so I got trained to say like how many have you made any offer in the past? And how long have you been looking?
That's a yes or
Things
no
like
question.
that.
Anything, what else?
Oh,
Have I made any offers in the past? No.
oh, how long have you been looking?
Yeah, how long have you been looking usually works?
How long is a
Yeah.
better question?
Yeah, how long?
But what if you want to know if they're working with an agent? How can you ask that question? Open-ended.
Any offers have you written?
How
The
many
same.
offers have you written is a way to go?
How many
How about-
offers?
How about something as easy as, who are you working with? Who's your real estate agent?
Yeah, what are you working with?
Ah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? If they have an agent, if they don't have an agent, they don't have a name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be a
Yep.
quick and easy way to establish whether they have one or not. And I've had an open house and someone says, oh, I'm working with Zach Bellman of Keller Williams. You're going to leave that person alone, right? Because they've identified an agent that they're working with, or I'm working with Jenny Chang, or I'm working
Yeah.
with Burstein,
Mhm.
right? You want to leave, especially Mark Burstein's people. You definitely want to leave them. Definitely want to leave them alone. So open-ended questions is the step one, right? And generally
Yeah.
overcoming objections is a process that it's a sales process that we can review as well. So we'll get through that as we get through the class. Anything else that'll make this a great training experience, guys? What do you want to know?
Maybe share your experience, through the course.
Of
And
course.
yeah, presenting your value proposition, Mark,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
is like introducing that and getting through it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have already, I'm assuming, somewhere in sessions earlier than this have established your value proposition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's always good to practice though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. But you guys have one at least. So that's good. We can
Oh,
just-
Mark,
we can work on
Mark,
presenting. Go ahead, Jim.
I have to admit, I'm having trouble establishing one that is unique.
Okay.
If there are any pointers out there.
Well, it's the question that's asked that day, right? Robbie, why should I work with you to help me buy a house, man? I just
Mhm.
met 4 agents at 4 open houses. Well, the answer to that question is your value proposition.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, and it kind of
I don't
sounds
want to
like,
put,
you
I'm
know,
not going
well,
to put you on the spot. You don't have
it'd be
to answer it
wise.
now, but just think about that. Think about that. Right? If someone's going through open
I mean,
houses, or if someone's going through open houses, they're out house hunting that day. Don't be thinking you're the only house they're stopping at, right? They're stopping at probably 3 or 4 or 5 maybe.
Mhm.
So they're going to interact with 3, 4 or 5 other people in this business. So if we want to
Mhm.
convert those people, we have to have some carrot to help them make a decision and choose you. So think about that. Think about that. And we'll get back to that as we go through the class.
Sure.
All right. What is lead conversion? I think we've touched the base on that a little bit, right? Leads are people that are ready, willing, and able to do business now. They're a priority. They're people that you want to get face-to-face with. So we want to get that appointment scheduled right away, right? Make sure they're in your database. That's the key to anything. Any inkling of a lead should find its way into your database. And then everyone else who maybe not be ready, willing, and able to do business now, they maybe do business within the sometime future, still you're going to put them in your database and follow up. But a lead is someone that, let's say you're in an open house and they're, you're asking them how long have they been looking? Oh, we've been looking at open houses for a few weeks. We're thinking, have you found anything you like? Tell me your house, blah, blah, blah. They have a clear picture. Then it may be time to really get serious about converting them. Looks like they may be ready, willing, and able to do business now. Right? Most of the people, if they're inputting their information into some online form, the chances are they're also ready to do business now. And then my favorite kind of leads are referrals. So hopefully they've already, somebody you know and should be expecting a call and are also ready, willing, and able to do business now. So once we identify these people, we want to give them top priority. We want to get face-to-face as soon as possible. Now, these days, we have Zoom, this wonderful platform, which is awesome because getting people into your office with their kids in tow at 7 o'clock at night on a weekday may not be the easiest thing to do. They have very valid objections that may be difficult to overcome. But to get someone to turn on their computer in the comfort of their own home and have a quick consultation, well, that barrier is much, much lower. And unless you're got a crappy computer whose camera doesn't work like mine, you can still, with the cameras on, you know, you can get you kind of do get face-to-face time. And I like to be able to say face-to-face because I do want to see the people that I'm talking to. That way I can read them a little bit better. Have a better understanding of whether or not we're going to be working together in the future moving forward. It's difficult to get that inkling from text messages or, you know, even, you know, Facebook messages back and forth. You don't quite get a different feeling when you're interacting with someone face to face. And in our cases today with Zoom, I would consider a Zoom meeting face to face. Everyone else, you know, we'll do business with you sometime in the future. Now, outside of meeting people in your office, you know, you can always ask for coffee. You know, if you're identifying your potential client as somebody with a family with kids, then, you know, getting them to meet face to face will be a challenge. But if you identify someone as a single person or a young couple, maybe they don't have kids yet, then getting face to face in real life might be better. You can invite them down to the office, or you can meet with them at a coffee place. I like to meet people for coffee. Ideally, I like to have them come to my office though, because there's fewer distractions. And when you're at the office, you're there for a specific purpose. And when the coffee machine's working, we have really good coffee. So that's actually one of the selling points that I have for getting people to come into the office is, hey, you know, we have some of the best coffee. Forget about pizza. Come to my office. I'll take good care of you.
Okay.
And we have all the tools and we have all the materials there so that you can be properly educated into the process of buying a home, right? Have the conference rooms, all the conference rooms have those comfortable big TVs. We can plug our laptops in and look at things, look at presentations, look at property or whatnot in a comfortable and private environment. That way they're not worried about sharing information with, you know, sometimes sensitive information with people at a coffee shop. But ultimately, right, the lead conversion is to get someone that you've identified as ready, willing, and able to get face-to-face with them so you can have that buyer broker presentation or you can have that listing presentation with them. Right? Anyone else that you may come, maybe not ready to go now, definitely still put them in your database and follow up with them down the road. And hopefully you will, A, either convert them into a direct client or B, get a referral from them. You know, I've had referrals from people that I've never done business with. It happens from time to time because you're talking to someone, you're building rapport, they like you, they want to do business with you, they just don't have a need now, but their brother, sister, uncle, coworker has a need now. And there is no pre-qualification that says I had to have sold you a house in order for you to refer me business. That does not exist. That pre-qualification does not exist. You just have to believe that I'm the most competent person to help your friend. And I can demonstrate that in a simple appointment. We can demonstrate that in the time that we get to know each other. You can demonstrate that in your diligent follow-up with them, right? So you can go a long way in earning someone's trust and referrals without ever having to sell them a house. So hopefully you guys get that point. So getting to know your leads, right? Treat people the way they want to be treated. So we have this behavioral styles that we're pretty big on. Are you guys familiar with the DISC profile? DISC, dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance.
Personality traits.
Yeah. Do you know what personality traits are? Have you gone through a DISC profile? Keller Williams is huge on that. I think Gary bought that DISC. You can go on and do it anytime.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So dominance, D, or driver, right? What are some of the behavioral styles of a dominant person? What do you guys think?
They'll arrive on time or slightly before.
Yep, they're punctual. What else? What else? What other cues to a dominance behavioral style might you have?
They already have an idea of what they want.
Yep. They're very, very focused.
Yeah.
They have clear objectives. What else? What do they do for a living? What do you think? D's have a priority. They like to be the boss. So more than likely, they're going to be self-employed or they're going to have a leadership position in whatever organization they're in. Because if they don't, it drives them crazy and they'll do whatever it takes to get to that next level. That's a driver. All right, how about the I's, the influencers? That's me. I'm a very high I. I'm a very high I followed slightly by the D, and then my S and C is very, very low. What do you guys think about I's? I's are people who are expressive. People that are, let's say, happy, maybe sometimes overly happy. They like to influence, right? Usually good.
I didn't see you.
What's-
Alan.
I'm an I, Mark. Just tell me.
Yeah,
He's the
You're-
I.
you're an I. If your D is right next to your I.
You know what's funny? I'm actually not a D. I'm a IS, believe it or not.
Really?
You're
Yeah.
I?
I'm an IS. Yeah.
I would have thought you would have been closer. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I know.
thought
The D only shows up in stressful situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good.
So,
It's
sorry,
the I.
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're always welcome to interrupt anytime.
Ah,
So I is your high energy salesperson.
I'm
Right?
the I.
They're good on, they like the fluff. Like if you have fluff, oh, you never guess what happened last week. It was so awesome. That kind of stuff. Those are high I people. What about S people? Steadiness.
Steadiness.
People that are more even keeled. People that like to review the facts about things. Engineers, tech people,
Mm.
Right.
Compliance.
Like,
usually have a yes.
Like proving themselves,
I'm sorry, I missed that. What was that on it?
proving themselves.
Proving themselves. Okay. Or proving their thoughts, proving their ideas as being right.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Got it. Got it. Yep. And then the last one is the C, the compliance.
Yeah.
This is typically your office administrators, accountants. Although accountants are high S's too. Right, but people that like to follow the rules.
Follow the rules, yeah.
right? To make the rules, the I's like to break the rules.
Lawyers.
And the C's definitely like to follow them. But very good people. I mean, it's good to be able to understand and identify people so that we can have the right verbiage to convert and win with them. Right? Someone who's a high D, they want it quickly. They want to get to the point. They're not
Yeah.
be turned off by a lot of fluff. Whereas the I of the fluff, they're not so domineering and they really don't care about the facts either. They just want to be excited. And the steadiness folks, they're all about the facts.
Yeah.
All right. So building rapport, communicate in a way that's meaningful to the person with whom you're talking. So number one in building rapport, well, you're asking good questions. And based on the answers to those questions, try to do a job of identifying what type of personality the person has. And then you can take your selling proposition to help them get down the path, which is the path is getting appointments. Right. So 10 for getting appointments. Number one, you got to ask for the appointment. That's first and foremost. Why is it important that we meet? Well, I'd love to talk to you about the home buying process so that you can feel comfortable making offers and understand the market where it's headed, understand where you can win and leverage your negotiation points so that you can have a better buying experience, right? Mr. Seller, I'd love to meet with you and tell you all about how to properly sell your home and get the greatest possible return, right? We'll go over marketing techniques, but more importantly, I'll teach you how to properly prepare your home to maximize your sales return. In order to do that, I have to come see your home. When's a good time for us to get together? I'm available Tuesday at 4 or Wednesday at noon. Be an expert in your market. Understand what in the world you're talking about. Does it mean that you have to be directly involved in selling the properties in that? No. But you do have to do a little bit of homework so you can intelligently talk about what's going on. Because not every time that you close, not in every scenario, and actually in most cases, right? Whenever you ask for the business, you're going to get a no. You're going to get a no, one way or the other. They're going to have some type of objection. So it's important to be able to overcome those objections so you can ask again. Now, how many times do you take people in the circle before you let them go? I say 3. Actually, not me. I've read a lot of sales books. Those books say 3. Right? If you do more than 3, you become a pest. If you do it less than 3 times, you're cheating yourself. Right? Do you guys want to meet with me to Saturday afternoon about buying a house? Oh, I don't know. We have to think about it. Oh, okay. We'll call me later. Right? You just totally gave up and let people off the hook in a situation that you probably could have closed. Right? The I want to think about it is the biggest put off that people give salespeople, right? I'm afraid to make a decision. I want to think about it. That just tells me they don't know. They don't have enough information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you have to take them in a circle sometimes. Right? I can appreciate the fact that you want to think about it. I can appreciate the fact you don't know. But I just want to let you know and then tell them something good or tell them something important. I just want to let you know 4 months ago, properties were selling in excess of 10% over list price. And right now, we're actually seeing even in lower priced properties, buyers are able to get deals. Are you looking to get a good next house that you buy? It's important that we meet and talk about the market. When can we get together? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to ask my wife. Okay, great. Why don't you ask your wife? I'll tentatively pencil you in for 1 p.m. If that doesn't work, please call me and let me know right away. Either way, I'll call you to confirm the appointment a couple hours before. Is that okay? Okay. Right. Be confident in your ability. If you don't speak with confidence or project confidence, you're getting anyone to convert or want to work with you is going to be. It has to be defined in your mental state that you are going to save this person from the 5,000 other a-hole real estate agents that are going to take advantage of them and sell them a crappy house in bad condition that they're going to be blind and very upset. You're going to save them because you're the best agent in the marketplace. You know the market better than anybody else. You know all the agents as well as anybody else. You know real estate as good as anybody else. So you'll be able to get through there and help them understand the condition of the home that they're buying and make sure they're confident in their decision to move forward, not only on the house, but with you as their agent. So you have to have that confidence. And the way you get that confidence is doing exactly what you're doing now. Come to the classes, analyze, study, spend some time studying the market. So if people ask you questions, you can answer them intelligently. Also, you want to have your list of questions that you're going to ask people. There's certain things you got to know. Besides, do you want to buy a house? Or what kind of house you're looking to buy? All right, we need to know more about them, what their situation is. If they're buying a house, we need to know about their financial situation. We need to know where their money's coming from, right? Because if their money's in the stock market or their money is sitting in investments overseas, it's still quite as accessible as we think it is, or as they think it is. So interesting things that you must understand. And then number 5, listen to what they're saying. Right? How do you build rapport and get people to like you? Listen to them themselves. Ask people questions about, and then listen intently to what they have to say. Ask follow-up questions. All right, from contribution, right? You have valuable information. You have valuable information that you want to share with them. Now begin with the end in mind. What is the end? Why are we having this conversation? Am I looking to sell them a house? Am I looking to list their house? Or am I just an appointment so that we sit down and talk about it? Because you're gonna have some appointments with people to be like,
Yeah.
I don't want to spend another 3 minutes. You discuss me. There's no way we're moving forward. I'm not your real estate agent, right? That could happen. That's happened before. That's happened to me before. Right? Buyers and sellers. They may have a situation that could be a deal breaker for you. Right? Violating fair housing for me is a big deal breaker. But there's still a lot of crazy people in this world, right?
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to come across. So make sure that the end in our lead generation is to have an appointment. Right? I need to understand this person's wants and needs. I have to make sure that they're legitimate and real before I spend time, money, effort, gas finding them the perfect home. Right? You want to seek agreement, get people on the same page, always respond quickly, and try to communicate in person. And when I think that communicate in person, I would say at least have a conversation with them, not just email messaging forever back and forth. Although sometimes that works. You know, these days people are different, especially the millennial kids that are coming up. And if you're one, don't get offended by me saying millennial kids, but you know, the younger generation coming up, they tend to communicate very well actually with text messages. And yeah, it's just that's what it is. I have a much younger brother. I can call him 3 times. He won't answer the phone, but I'll send him a quick text message and he'll respond right away. Any questions on these 10 tips for getting appointments?
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Mark. This is Purvi, and I have a
Hi, Purvi.
question. So, since I'm a new realtor, right, I am going through whatever news articles I can. But sometimes, I think I don't feel. What you are saying, I understand that we should be feeling confident that yes, we can deliver them the best service. So I feel that I lack that confidence because I feel I don't have that kind of knowledge since I haven't done any transaction yet. So, what would you advise for me to study exactly where I can gain the knowledge about the entire transaction process so that I can feel comfortable saying that, yes, I can help you through and through regarding the entire uh, process?
So confidence for new agents. Yourself with information. I should see you at my listing club every Monday morning at 8 a.m. We go over the inventory so that way you can have a kind of a, and you know, I give you the chart and hopefully I am clear. I don't do it every week, but clear about how to distinguish the information on that chart. So that way you can at least understand what kind of market that we're in. Are we in a buyer's market, balanced market, seller's market? So come to the meeting and participate, listen to what the other agents are saying, especially with regards to their activity. Are people coming in? Are they getting offers, and where those offers are coming in at, lower price? This should give you some indicator as to the market, right? So if you're at a party and someone says, "Oh, you're a realtor, how's the market?" You can answer that question with a fair level of intelligence to help you move forward. And actually, that's a very important question you master the answer to, because that is the lead-in question from anyone you meet anywhere, right? When you say, "Hey, I'm a real estate professional," that's the first thing they typically will ask you. So how's the market? And understand that they've been listening to the news. They may have been talking to other real estate agents. There's a million things going on. They may know the market better than you. They're asking you how the market is so that they kind of justify your place in the business, right? How's the market for you? What's going on? So how you answer that question will actually go a long way into helping you solidify an appointment from that lead.
Sounds
Does that make
good.
sense?
Sure.
Right?
Thanks, Mark.
If
Yeah.
if you're coming with doom and gloom, it's like, "Oh, the market's terrible right now. You know, the stock market's crashing, interest rates are
Mm-hmm.
going up. Nobody's buying a house." You know,
Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah,
you answer it
definitely.
that way, or if they're looking at buying a house, what are they going to think about you, or what are they going to think about the idea of buying a house right now? You just scared them off, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Sounds
Or,
good.
you know, if you
Thanks.
answer like, "Oh man, business is crazy right now. I got 15 leads. I don't know who to call or how to follow up with them. I'm pulling my hair out. There's so many people wanting to buy a house," right? If you answer a question that way, yeah, how does that make the person that you're talking to feel? Right? Maybe this agent may be a little too busy for me. I want to buy a house, but man, I don't have time to jump into their queue, right? They have too much going on. So you have to be very good answering that question properly politically to help people move forward and hopefully work with you as their agent of choice.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So the other way, obviously, you know, if you're brand new, seek out a senior agent in the office as a mentor. Seek out a senior agent in the office that's willing to help you close those first few bits of business. Yeah, it's going to cost you some percentage, but a percentage of something is better than 100%. When I started in this business, I was like the 30th agent of Keller Williams in all of the Bay Area. There wasn't much Keller Williams going on, and our office was small, and we didn't have any type of mentorship situation or program. And I was pretty good about getting internet leads, so I had a lot of listing appointments. But because I never had any listings and I didn't quite know exactly how to get through those appointments as well as I do now, of course, I lost a lot of business. And if I had a mentor, or if I would have just went to the best listing agent in the office and said, "Hey, I have these 3 listing appointments. Will you go on them with me and we'll split it 50-50?" They would have said yes. I would have gotten all 3 of those listings instead of a nice education on what not to say, and probably would have had a much better income in my first year of business, although my first year wasn't bad, right? So when you have that relationship established with that mentor, you can then go ahead and leverage that business as a reason for people to work with you that you don't know, right? It's like, yeah, I'm new, but hey, I'm working with Mark Burstein. He's the broker of the office. He sells regularly 5 to 12 listings every year. We'll be happy to help you maximize the sale of your home. Or I work with, Alan Wang is taking me under his wing. He's the biggest agent in the office. He knows how to read the inspections. He knows exactly how to get you through the process of understanding what a good home is and what isn't. When can we get together and talk about buying a house, right? So when you come up with those types of value propositions, you don't just have those when you're new, right? Because you haven't built that yet. But when you partner with another agent, that's the beauty of that partnership, is you get to leverage their experience and you get to leverage their track record to hopefully help those first few clients do business with you. And then after you've done it or observed it a few times, you'll be more confident. And then you reevaluate, well, do I want to keep working with a senior agent, or am I more comfortable going out on my own? And that's your call. Right? You have the flexibility to do that. All right, let's talk a little bit about internet inquiries. I don't know if any of you guys are working internet leads, working with OpCity, Zillow, or some of those other businesses. There is a lot of business to be had, in my opinion, through open houses and calling your sphere of influence that I think will get you started pretty well. The internet inquiries, though, are also valid. However, keep this in mind, spending money to meet these people. And if you're not polished, or if you're, let's say not, maybe don't have the track record, it may be a greater challenge in converting them, because let's be face it, internet leads, your site or your lead gen source isn't probably the only thing they've clicked on in the last 10 minutes that's going to generate someone calling them, talking to them about real estate. So I would say there are many ways to generate business. Internet's a great way to do it. But before you start spending big money on those lead generation sources, make sure that your systems are polished enough to where you can actually convert those leads and get return on your investment. All right. Internet inquiries aren't any good is the biggest myth, right? But the truth is that internet inquiries aren't worse than traditional inquiries. They're just different. What would make an internet inquiry different than a traditional inquiry? What do you guys think? Someone talking I can't hear?
No, it's not face to face.
They're not face to face, correct?
Or
Anything
even,
else? Go ahead, Austin.
or even, you're not even hearing people's voices. You're not really getting a feel for them at all. You can perhaps stalk them online before you call them, but other than that, you're not going to, get a feel for them in the room.
Right, it's just a name and a number. That's it, right? Name and a number.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get some more information than that, but in most cases, it's all it is. Also understand that, like I mentioned a minute ago, your source is not probably the only thing they've clicked on. And depending on what your source is, like some of these lead gen companies sell those leads to 5 or 6, not just one. So understand that they might be getting bombarded with some calls if they haven't been so already, depending on when you're engaging with them. Right? All right. So how do you get the most out of internet inquiries? Number one, I would say your response has to be instant almost to have the greatest level of success. Response time is super, super critical. If you're calling your internet leads a day later, even if you're calling them an hour later. It's too late. Number one, they have ADD. People on the internet are clicking, looking. They're looking for answers to their questions now. If you don't have an answer to the question now, in 15 minutes, their mind has 25 new questions. They don't care about what they asked you 15 minutes ago. That's the internet lead. So getting to them quickly is incredibly critical. Okay. You should have systems in place to be able to engage with them immediately. So email response, you should have triggers to your email so that when these leads come in, there's something that goes out to them, a quick greeting right away. If you can create a video email, even better. CMA forms, you know, those are lead gen forms. And your systematic marketing plan basically says follow the system and keep after these people until they tell you to stop or they do business with you. And that's the second secret, I guess, to all leads, is you follow up until they tell you to not follow up anymore. Either they're working with someone else, they're sick of hearing you call them, or you beat them down finally and they're going to do business. They're going to meet. But follow-up is ultra critical. All right. So consultation pre-qualification. You want to gather pertinent information prior to your face-to-face consultation with someone, either a seller or a buyer. What are some of the things that we want to know or that we need to know about people before we meet with them? Let's start with a buyer. All right, let's say you have a buyer lead. Someone walks into your open house. We're debating, or we're trying to schedule an appointment. What do you need to know from them to make that appointment the most effective?
Timeline, motivation.
Timeline, motivation, absolutely. Anything else?
Are they pre-qualified?
Yeah, budget and financing, yeah,
Their approval status,
and budget.
budget. Anything else? How about their buying experience?
Oh,
Whether
Have
they've
you ever
owned
bought-
before. Yeah,
Have you ever owned a home before? Have you ever bought a home before? Tell me about that experience. And second of all, some of those folks may have already been through the process with other agents. They just don't like those agents. Good to know that too. Like if a buyer tells me, you know, I'm working with 3 or 4 agents, I don't know what's going on. You know, that's a big red flag for me. Why are you working with 3 or 4 agents? Do you know how the process works? Maybe nobody, because a lot of agents take shortcuts. Maybe no one sat them down to tell them about the home buying process. Maybe they don't know that any one of those agents can sell them any home. They may be just one of those disloyal buyers. There's people out there that are like that. And that's a decision you have to make, whether you want to work with them or not. Right? In my business, if you're not going to commit to working with me exclusively and helping you buy a house, that's fine. Tell me now, and I'll wish you luck. Right? And sometimes if they're too good of something crazy comes to the fruition, I may give them a call, but unlikely. What do we want to know about a seller? So we can adequately prepare for their appointment.
Reason for
price.
the
Expectation.
comps.
Reason for selling. How about their address?
Yeah,
Yes.
and
The
the
address of the
price.
property so that we can do some research and be prepared for our meeting.
Yes. The comps.
The
How
expectation.
about their
of the
experience?
selling
How
price.
about their experience? Have you ever sold a house before?
Mhm.
How was that process for you? How was that agent for you? Are they still in business, and why are you not talking to them? Sometimes why are you not talking to that current agent? It's a hard question to ask because we don't want to remind them that they have another agent that they can talk to. But believe me, they know. Right? But it's important for us to know what we're up against, right? It's important for us to know what we're up against. Because if someone's relative is in the real estate business of the local area, don't you think it's important to know? What are your chances of converting them without paying a referral fee? None. So these are things that you got to understand, right? Before we get into these appointments. So that we can, maybe create a case where it's a win-win. Yeah, I can appreciate the fact that your cousin just got their real estate license and you want to help them help them get started in this business. However, are you sure that you want to trust probably the biggest financial transaction that you're going to have in your life to someone who's never done it before? Which company are they with? Because I'd be happy to talk to them about Keller Williams, and perhaps maybe we can work together. You can help them out by helping them launch their business, yet still benefit from my experience and ability to maximize your returns. And I'm always looking to build a team. If your cousin, brother, uncle, sister, nephew, cousin, whatever, whoever they are worthwhile, I'd love to meet them. Perhaps they'd make a good teammate. We are a profit share company, right, guys? We are also, we're out looking for buyers and sellers. We're also out looking for agents to join our beloved and illustrious company. So it's good to know if a seller has a relative in the business. It's good to know, obviously, their address, why they're selling, their motivation, so that we can set our expectations when we go through an entire listing appointment. My expectation from a listing appointment is for me to come out of there with a signed listing. What has to happen in order for that to actually truly be the case, right? If it's a husband and wife, don't all parties need to be there? If all parties aren't there, it's a waste of an appointment. If people are married, they're not going to make such a huge decision without a consultation with their spouse. If their spouse isn't there, that's the only one of the few objections that's almost impossible to overcome. Like, don't worry, sign now, I'll pay for your divorce attorney later. That doesn't work, right? So we're going to gather the right information prior to our consultation. Questions to ask sellers and buyers we kind of went over already. And then to be ready, right? To be ready for our appointment. What are some buyer questions?
Well, what's the most important thing about this purchase for you?
What questions could the buyer have of you and the process that you can anticipate? What do you guys think? You can cheat and look at page 40 of the guide. I think is where it starts. Common buyer questions. Or what are questions a buyer could ask that'll help you convert the lead? Right. Hey, I'm calling about a house. How much does it cost? Right. How big is the house? How soon can I see a house? Right. Do you know anything about the schools? Is the seller willing to negotiate? You know, one interesting thing that we think that the buyer is going to ask about, but they almost never do, especially if you're confident in your approach, Purvi, especially you, because you're new, is nobody's going to ask you how many homes you've sold.
So Mark,
I've never had a buyer ever ask, hey, so how many homes do you sell every year? Right.
Mark, it happened with me in one of my last listings. There was a buyer and who were in a process of interviewing some realtors, and I just offered myself that, you know, even we can sit down and I can let you know. I mean, I would like to share that how I can add value to your home buying process. And they were like, oh, okay, how much experience do you have? So I was like stumped at that point, but I was like, okay, I'm new to the real estate. I'm new as a realtor, but I'm not very new to the real estate market. And I work with one of the top agents who will be helping along with me, though I'm new, but I will be dedicating my 100% time for you, and I can go for private showings whenever you want. Because I mean, that's when this kicked in, that since I'm new, that's what they are noticing as well. Probably it's the market right now, but I've had a buyer like that who just, so I followed up, and I've been following up, but they are like, no, we are still thinking about it. We'll let you know if we want to have a meeting or anything.
Cool.
Yeah.
One thing that I'd like for you guys to, a question that I'd like for you guys to internalize that will help you overcome these objections and help you really open people up in general. That question is, why is that important? Or why is this important to you? And the way you could present that is when someone asks you, how much experience do you have? I can understand, Mr. Buyer, that experience could be important, but it could have several meanings. Can you please elaborate on why experience is important to you? What are you looking for in your next real estate agent? Why ask the experience question? And listen to what they have to say.
There's another way that you can approach that. I mean, with lack of experience, like for myself, one way is just kind of show the experiences that I've had in other things that I've done up until then. I mean, maybe new to real estate, but not really new to helping people, or, you know, putting forth the effort to getting things done, stuff like that. Maybe a little bit of a spin.
Absolutely.
That's a great answer, Ronnie.
Because it's you have to uncover what they're looking for. What are you looking for, Mr. Buyer? Right? Are you looking for somebody with connections? Are you looking for somebody with established relationships with inspectors? Because we have all those. That's the whole one of the biggest reasons for joining a big company like Keller Williams, right? To shortcut those things. Right? What kind of customer service experience are you looking for, Mr. Seller or Mr. Buyer? Because if you're looking for someone to drop everything at the top of a hat and service your needs, I assure you that the agent with 25 years experience and a database of 5,000 people isn't going to be doing that for you. However, I'm a relatively new agent. I'm incredibly hungry and incredibly diligent, looking for experience, and I will be there, and I will be happy to show you 50 houses on the weekend where somebody else might not, so forth and so on. You're never going to do that, by the way. You're never going to show somebody 50 houses. We'll get to that in another class. But you want to let them know that you're willing to work hard, that you're willing to do things that maybe other agents may be too busy to do. Always look for that angle to put yourself in that position to be of service and of tremendous benefit.
Mark,
Yes.
can I ask a question? So what if they said, well, most more experienced agents have more networks, right? Agent networks and client networks, right? So, and also they have more experience in negotiation. So those are lacked by the newer agents. So how do you overcome that objection?
Well, number one, if you're brand new, I highly recommend mentoring with someone. Number two, you probably have negotiation experience and customer service experience, like Robbie mentioned, in other lines of work and in other businesses. So although you may lack the experience directly in a real estate transaction, you share with them the other experience that you do have that could be relevant and overcome that objection. Again, if you're mentoring with a strong agent, then you're going to leverage that relationship. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it could be a combination of both of those things, right? You know, I've been working in customer service for the last 30 years in the high-tech field. I'm very comfortable with talking with people, solving problems, and negotiating different elements of transactions. I've been doing it for 30 years, anxious to do it in the real estate business, and I'm partnered with Alan Wang, who has 15 to 20 transactions every month. So he'll be overseeing everything we're doing. So you have A, all of my experience, which is a bonus and a win, and B, of a seasoned agent who will be with us to help facilitate the transaction and help you win. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, actually, I like your idea of asking them question that, you know, why do you need an agent with that much experience? And whatever they have the points, and I think we can elaborate more on that. I think that's a very brilliant idea to go about.
Absolutely. Why is that important? Yeah, you're going to ask that question to open people up, right? When you're in that presentation, buyer presentation, it's like, well, I'm looking for a 4-bedroom house. Well, interesting. Why is having 4 bedrooms important? Oh, because I have 2 kids and my in-laws are going to be living with us. Oh, okay. So it's a multi-generational situation. You have a couple of kids. Tell me about your kids. How old are they? As good as being in a top school important, so forth and so on, right? But you have to get through the layers, and the way to peel a layer back is to ask the simple question of, you know, why is that important? And I need an open kitchen. Well, I can appreciate that. It's common design style these days, but why is that important for you? Oh, because I like to entertain. You know, you get a little more insight into whatever layer you're working towards. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Any other objections and barriers? So just real quick, Sales 101, how to overcome objections. The first thing you want to do ultimately is, what do they call it? Solidify the objection, or make sure that's the only thing that's stopping them from moving forward, right? So the first step for any objection handling is to isolate that objection and make sure that's the only thing. So other than my experience, if I can show you how my experience will benefit you moving forward, would you be willing to meet with me tomorrow for coffee? Or would you be willing to have a listing appointment with me, have me come into your home next week, right? If the objection is your experience. So typically the objection in most cases is just, we want to think about it, right? Well, we want to think about it. We don't know if you're the right one, Mark. We want to think about it before we commit to an appointment. I can appreciate that fact, Mr. Buyer or Seller. This is a very important decision, and you want to be very confident and sure about what you want to do moving forward. But while we're here, and since I am here and I can answer questions for you in the meantime, maybe I can help you go through the process. What is it that you need to think about? What things are holding you back? And listen to what they have to say. And then isolate every objection as it comes through and overcome one after the next, and then close for the appointment. And it's a process you're going to go through in any presentation situation, whether you're just trying to close for an appointment or down the road when you're trying to close for that listing and get that listing agreement signed, right? You go through your presentation, you go through your listing agreement. I mean, you go through the listing agreement, you go through your listing presentation, you have some kind of understanding of what their value of their home is. If you're on the same page there, make sure you're on the same page with regards to your commission and the pay, how that gets paid. You're on the same page there. There shouldn't be any reason for them not to sign a listing agreement. If they're not signing, then you have to directly ask them why not. What's holding you back? And listen to what they have to say, and then overcome each objection and then close again for that business. All right, so classifying leads, right? Reasons to classify potential customers, determine how quickly you need to hold a consultation, right? Do they need to meet with you tomorrow or can we meet next week, depending on their situation, right? Decide how much you want to cover in your consultation, determine what you want to do for follow-up, and eliminate prospects who are not good business for you. It's a hard one when you don't have a lot, but I assure you guys, the best thing that you can have is a full appointment book. The way you get a full appointment book is by lead generate consistently. When you have a full appointment book, it's very easy to eliminate bad business because you know that, okay, this person might not be right for me, and it doesn't matter because I got 4 or 5 other people that I'll be talking to in the next couple of hours that might be a better fit. But what happens when we lack in our lead generation and our appointment time is lacking, but we still have bills to pay and life to live, and that prospect comes in front of you who wants to take all of your blood and your hard work and pay you almost nothing in return for it, the prospect that you should kick down the road, you're not going to kick them down the road because they're your only source of potential business. And you will do whatever they say, you will give them whatever they ask, and it's not a great career move for you, right? There's a reason that 80% of the agents are out of business in 2 years. It's because they're not lead generating enough so they can pick and choose who they work with. Because there are clients in this business that you will love, they'll love you, and they're the reason for moving forward. And there are some people that'll just drain you and kill you. We want to have abundance in our business so we can identify those prospects that aren't worthy of our time and move them out of our business and focus on good business. The only way to do that is to make sure you have choices. The best way to have choices is to constantly lead generate. Right? If you're in a buyer presentation, like in my business, I only work with 3 buyers at any given time. And that's all I have really time for. Any more than 3, maybe 4, maybe. So if I have an opening for a buyer and I have a buyer consultation with a prospect, if they're asking me questions, or if they're telling me how many agents they're working with, or if they're telling me how much money they're expecting to get back, well, Mr. Buyer, I can appreciate you want money back, but I don't give money back. I also don't make mistakes. What do you prefer? If you're looking for an agent to give you, or if you're looking for the cheapest agent, that's fine. I assure you, I am not the cheapest agent. Right? There's definitely someone out there that'll do something for a lower price. However, if you see the light, I know that you will end up in a much better place working with me because I will either get you more money for your house, or I'll find you a better house, or I'll make sure that whatever house you buy isn't laden with pitfalls, right? You don't want to be in the money pit with Tom Hanks and Shelley Long back in the day, right? Buying this beautiful house that's falling apart. And 8, not every agent is as diligent as me as making sure that you are comfortable with the house that you're buying, right? But if someone is stuck on getting a rebate, cool. We'll see you next time down the road. You're not the right person for me, and people appreciate that, right? If you're doing an adequate job of lead generation, you're going to only really want to work with maybe 30% of the people that you come in contact with. Think about that. Think about that. Because the other half are either unmotivated or will have you compromising your values. Neither of those things you want to do. So we're almost to the end of our session here, guys. Do you guys have any power session ahas? Anything we've learned today?
I think for me, the aha was that instead of, just explaining them, we should ask them more questions, and based on that, we'll get to know more about them, and that would be better for us to make them understand what their questions are about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In those sessions, in those presentations, that's why some people will get And especially new agents, when I tell them, hey, Mark, where's your PowerPoint? Where's your this and this? I don't have a PowerPoint. I don't go into presentation. I don't go into a discussion or a listing presentation or a buyer consultation with a PowerPoint, because I don't plan on doing all the talking. Actually, I plan on doing as little talking as humanly possible. Right? I'm just going to ask questions and hopefully they will sell themselves to me. That's kind of the mentality you have to take as well, right? Remember, people are interviewing you to see if you're the right agent for them, but also you're interviewing them to make sure they're the right clients for you. And that's 50-50, just as important, just as important. Any other ahas?
Well, that's my aha, Mark, is that we're interviewing each other, especially when I'm talking to a buyer, since there isn't really a whole lot of legal power that I have to bind them to any agreement until there's something to buy. That, yeah, to see that it's a 50-50 agreement, basically. And that I'm interviewing them as much as they're interviewing me.
That's right. Very good.
So
Any
my,
others?
yeah, mine will be do more lead generation so that I can get rid of those bad leads. I don't have to work with somebody who wants to suck all of my time.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Lead gen is more important. So I can only, you know, I can choose my client.
That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. You want to have an abundance of lead generation so you can choose your clients, not the other way around. Absolutely. Any other ahas? So what about your action plan? What are we going to do moving forward?
Lead gen. 3
Lead
hours
gen.
per day. Wow. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to keep like doing 3 hours per day while you're busy showing or, you know.
Well, you have to time block your schedule. So there is no day in the week that I'm showing houses before noon, ever.
Okay.
It's just not going to happen, right? Because between 8 a.m. and noon, what happens?
You're lead genning.
Right? I'm either in lead generation or I'm at tour and in meetings. So there is not going to be any home touring before noon. But then you see all this open space after? See this today and everyday calendar here, it says noon and afternoon, it's all open. That's showing time, right? So if you block out in 2-hour blocks the days that you want to show homes, well, now you have your appointment times, right? I'm blocked to show homes between 1 and 3. Who am I showing homes to? Well, if the answer is blank, then you got to call your buyers and make an appointment. If you don't have buyers, then you have to call and get buyers and fill those time slots with buyer presentations. It's very powerful to see the openings in your calendar. So that way you have a goal when you're making your calls, right? It's like, I really want to have a listing presentation Thursday afternoon. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to call people that may have a think about selling a home, or I want to call people that know a lot of homeowners that may introduce me to someone that wants to sell their home. And if you go into it with the clear goal in mind of, oh, I need to have a listing appointment this Thursday at 4 p.m., well, the likelihood of getting that listing appointment is great because you have a focus and you'll be willing to do the hard work, hopefully, right? You got to make the calls and ask the questions. Who do you know that wants to buy or sell a home today? But before you can ask that question, you have to have the right to ask that question from your prospect. So if they know you, they like you, and they trust you already, they're in your Met database, then you can make that a really quick call, right? It's like, hey, brother, I'm here out generating leads just to let you know I need to have a listing appointment by 4 o'clock in order to meet my goals. Can you help me out? Anybody in your office thinking about selling a home? Yes, no, great. Next one. Next, buddy. Next, that's a conversation you can have with someone that you know, right? Because they already kind of know what you do and what's going on. But nevertheless, guys, people need to be reminded. They need to be reminded. It's called top of mind awareness. You have to maintain top of mind awareness with the people that in your Met database. Top of mind means when they're at the water cooler and they have a coworker thinking about, hey, what'd you do? I was looking at open homes. Oh shit, do you have an agent? Because my buddy's an agent. He's a great one. I can introduce you. Right? That only happens if you have top of mind awareness. The only way to get top of mind awareness is to call and touch people. Let them know they're important. Let them know that you need their help. Let them know that you value the relationship and that, you need an appointment, and they'll get them for you. They'll get them for you. You want a time block? Follow up on those open house leads. If you were unsuccessful at setting an appointment during the open house, first follow up would be right after the open house. Don't wait till Monday. Don't wait till Tuesday. They've already talked to 5 other agents by then. You're done by then. You got to call them right after the open house. Call everyone that just went to the open house. Thank them for coming. Tell them you value their relationship and seeing if there's anything you can do to help them shortcut their way into their next home. And schedule
Mark,
those appointments. Yes.
Mark, do you still follow up with those buyers even if they said they have agents but without names?
No, typically not.
No. Okay.
Typically not. But for me, if they say, so I ask them who their agent is. If they tell me who their agent is, then you follow up with their agent, right? Because if it's your listing, say, hey, I'm selling this listing. Your client came through the open house. Are they interested? What are you thinking? What are they thinking? Blah, blah, blah. But stop asking people if they have an agent. Ask people who their agent is. Who is your real estate agent?
Who they are.
Why are you here? What? And so the first question is, who's your real estate client? Who's your agent? And if they tell you who, say, where are they? Why are they not here?
Okay. Why are they not there? What they said, oh, we don't want to bother them right now. We just want to look at ourselves first. And once we like it, we'll have the agent look at again. Usually that's what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time I don't see agent come to the open house with a client.
Yeah, these last few years, it wouldn't be, it's going to happen more often now, though. I don't know if you were on List Club this morning, but that was one of the things that some of the agents were saying, that the agents are coming with their clients to the open houses now because there's less buyers.
Yeah, there's I have a potential buyer client and stuff, and we've been talking for a while and stuff, and he said he kind of prefers to kind of go out on his own, just kind of like on a whim. If he sees something, he hits it up and stuff. Should I kind of like recommend or be like, hey, well, I'd like to accompany you on to these open houses and whatnot? I mean, is that something that I should try to bring up? Just kind of, I'd like to be present for those with them.
Well, you could, and for me, I would say you want to qualify their intention. When are they looking to buy and what are they looking to buy? Because if they're saying, well, if I found the perfect house, we'll buy it this weekend. Well, what if that perfect house doesn't have an open house this weekend? You're going to limit yourself to the 30% of the listings that are open, because not every house is open, but I can get you into every house. So if you're serious about buying a home, then let's talk about ideally what you're looking for. We'll select the 4 or 5 best options for you in your budget, and we can go at our leisure. We're not going to be obligated to coming between 1 and 4. We could go at 10, or we can go from 1 to 4. It doesn't matter. But not every home is that. Not the point is that the perfect house may not be open this weekend. So why shortchange yourself? Let's schedule an appointment. Let's go together. That way we can guarantee to see the houses you want to see. Does that make sense, Robbie?
Yeah, makes perfect sense. This is a client that we've I've kind of talked to. I know what he's looking for and stuff, and he's kind of active on his portal that I kind of set up for him on the MLS and everything.
Probably I
But
lost you there.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now? Sorry.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, just I see he's active on the portal, and I kind of know what he's looking for. But yeah, he was a little, he didn't really seem standoffish, but he did kind of seem like he felt he wanted to not bother me with it or something like that. He said he felt it's easier to just attend these open houses himself.
Sure. Is it a situation of Mr. Buyer, you're not looking for a high pressure situation, or are you just not ready to make a move right now? Because what if you found the perfect house? Would you be willing to would you be willing to write an offer? The answer to that question is yes. Well, then the next follow-up is like, well, why are we limiting ourselves to open houses? If you're willing to write an offer on the perfect house, I'm more than willing to accompany you in showing homes. And if we do it privately, we can speak freely in every house. You don't have to worry about offending anybody. Sellers won't be there. There won't be any other agents. It'll just be us. It's the most comfortable experience you could have in looking at homes.
Well, that's a great point. It's almost like it's just a personal tour.
It's exactly what it is. And this way we can speak freely. We can evaluate the property without fear of offending anybody. Sometimes, not every good listing or the right listing might not be open. If you trust me in my abilities to help solve your problem, we've been talking. I think I have an idea of what you're looking for. Would you allow me the honor of selecting a few homes that I think you would be very interested in? Let's schedule an appointment to look at them.
Well, I think I already told her about that, so I don't know if she's done it already, but.
Does that make sense? Does anyone else have any ideas, objections, different things that we can help you push through to make your week more successful?
So. It'll be on the next couple of days.
We're good? Well, if we're good, then we're good, guys. Thank you all for joining me today. I apologize for the late start.
Not a problem, bud. Thank you.
Another good session tomorrow.
Thank you. Tomorrow?
Not with me though, right? When do these classes normally take place? Because I know this is a makeup of a class. Don't you guys do Tuesdays, Thursdays? On 36-12-3?
Usually, yeah.
Who's teaching the class tomorrow? What's the topic?
This was the last one.
That's a good question. Raymond, who's teaching the class tomorrow?
I think this is actually the last one.
This is the last one.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Raymond.
Hey, John.
This is the last class.
Well, then thank you for letting me finish it up for you guys. If you guys have any questions, concerns, you guys know how to reach me.
Yeah.
broker@kwscb.com is the email. My phone number, my card should be up by next to Raymond. If it's not, I'll bring some more in. And I'm always here for you guys. I'd much rather have you call me and ask a question and solve a problem before it becomes a problem than dragging me into a court battle later. I'd much rather be bothered now. Much rather be bothered now.
Heard.
So please, and I'm not bothered. I enjoy supporting you, I enjoy supporting agents. I enjoy supporting you and helping you guys be successful. That's why I do what I do.
Hey, Mark, can I call you like in 1 hour? I have something about my listing.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. All right, guys. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark.
Take a minute and do the training feedback. If you have it. Make sure we're doing a good job for you guys. I want to make sure that our time is valuable for you. You value the time. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Enjoy the rest of your day.